Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having a good start to the weekend. I hope you're staying healthy and strong. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. Hi Yanni, Fuang, Romelia, good to see our members. Lukman, Sunny, Nipa, nice to see our subscribers. Everybody, this is a subscribers chat class. That means to join the chat, you have to subscribe to the channel. And that's a great idea because then you know when these live classes are happening and you get notifications of all of our uploads. So if you're getting ready for your IELTS exam, definitely subscribe and pay attention to schedules. This is going to be a listening class. We're going to focus on part 1 and 2. Part 1, university registration, and part 2 will be tour of a resort. Steve, good day back at you. This lesson is brought to you by AEHelp.com for academic IELTS. Check us out there for the general IELTS. Visit us at gieltshelp.com. These websites provide the support and the textbooks for our classes. We will use the websites today for the listening audio. This is AEHelp.com here with the blue background. You can click that big red button that's just right above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. I'm a certified British Council agent. You are in excellent hands with us to improve for your IELTS exam. For the general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. It's this green background here. And again, you can click this big red button just above my head. When you do that, you can use the code LIVE9 for a 10% discount code that I've already applied. And that's a bit of extra help for you to get the class materials. Apps, yes, we have them. Download them from your app store. Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help. I'm on Deep. Nice to have you join our membership. Okay. To follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AHelp, GIELTS Help. And if you have questions for me about IELTS or our products, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com and admin@aehelp.com. Both of those emails are good. Now for the schedule, daylight savings. We just started daylight savings. This is for our regular students. Keep in mind, daylight savings means that many countries, including Canada, change the clocks. In fall, we go backwards 1 hour. That means that the classes are going to be later by an hour. Universal Standard Time, 15:30 for the second class. The first class is 13:30 Universal Standard Time. Tomorrow we have speaking part 2 for members, speaking part 3 for everybody in the chat. And on Sunday, we have a Discord class, which will be a full speaking class. So check that out. There's the long link to that Discord class. Okay, so join Discord. Check that out. And again, subscribe so you can join the chat today in this class and you can get notifications of our latest releases. We've got an incredible release for you coming today. Later, this is last week's release in the chat. Listening tips. Tip 1. We're doing the listening section right now. So tip 1. Check the topic of each listening part 4 parts in total. During the introductory time or introduction, okay, let me show you what I mean. So right now we're looking at our second exam book. We are looking at test number 4. We will be looking at section 1, which is called part 1 these days. So there's a 90-second introduction for the IELTS listening. Basically, they're like, this is the IELTS exam made by the ESOL examination board. The materials are copyright. So while you're listening to this, you want to look at the topics. So you have to check out the questions. So here we look at what does the student need help with? Okay, so it's a student needs some kind of help. Which year of the university is the student enrolled? Okay. What is the student concerned about? Okay, so this is a student in university, something to do with their classes, right? So here, I know that part 1 is university student and their classes. Okay, so while I'm listening, and we're going to listen in just a couple of minutes, while I'm listening, I'm looking at these parts, and then I'm looking at part 2. Okay, how long will the tour be? According to the tour guide, the guide. 4 features of the resort. Okay. The buildings on the beach. Okay, so I can tell that this is some kind of a vacation resort, right? So part 2. Resort, vacation, okay, hotel, something like that. All right. So basically, I'm showing you how to look at the questions and think about the topic of each part while you're listening to the introductions. You're allowed to do this. The examiner should not stop you. In the computer-based exam, at the bottom of the screen, you will have a navigation bar that you can easily click to the sections, okay? In the paper-based exam, you just flip to the page, okay? All right. So you keep going and you look at all 4 parts. Now we're only going to look at part 1 and 2 in this class. We'll look at part 3 and 4 next class. But in this preparation time, you're looking at all of the sections. So here it's professor and university. Okay, arguments given against zoos. Zoo animals, zoos must be held. Attributes of zoos. So I can tell that part 3 is about zoos. Zoos, right? And then part 4. Usually part 4 is quick to identify because they give you kind of the topic at the beginning. So here, okay, part 4, loggerhead turtle. Loggerhead turtle. Okay, so I can tell that this loggerhead turtle, part 4 is to do with the loggerhead turtle. All right. And if you're not sure what the loggerhead turtle is, no worries. We'll get to that bridge. when we hear it, but at least you start thinking about the idea of a turtle. And, you're thinking, okay, it's an animal, so something about this animal. Okay, all right. So that's what you do during the introduction time. That's my first tip to you, and that can easily save you a half a band score, right? Don't forget this. So I know some of you have seen me do this before, have heard me say this before, but sometimes I still hear students are like, oh, I forgot to check the topics when I was in my exam. Don't forget to check the topics. It's really helpful for your brain to think about what's going to happen, what you're listening for. It gets information around it, and your score will be better. Okay, Chen, thank you for the turtle emojis. I was hoping somebody would get the turtle going. All right, everybody. So that's my first tip. The next tips I will give you as we listen and answer questions. So students, I'm going to play the audio. So get your headsets ready. We're going to answer the questions while we listen. Do not put the answers in the chat because that can be very confusing for other people. Put it on a separate document or a separate piece of paper, and then we will go through the answers together after. But do answer while you listen, okay? So for the audio, we go to our website. We're going to use aehelp.com. Again, you can click this big red button to join the premium package so you get all of our practice exams and materials that we use in these live classes. Then we log into the My Student account where we have computer-based practice exams, an interactive course, and down here we have our audio CDs. Now this is test 4 part 1, so it makes sense that it's CD 4 track 1, okay? So here we go, everybody listen. Now I will show you again during the introduction time how to kind of go through the exam. In the paper-based, you're flipping pages. In the computer-based IELTS, you will actually have a little piece at the bottom that you can click on, okay? So here we go.
This recording is copyrighted by 2 Think One Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings, and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Listening section 1. You will hear a conversation between a student and a university administrator. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Oh, hi there. Is this the University Registrar's office?
Yes, it is. I'm Deborah Reed, the university's Assistant Registrar. What can I help you with today?
Great. Thank you for seeing me today, Ms. Reed. I have a few concerns about my registration for the upcoming semester.
The student says she has concerns about registration, so B has been indicated for you. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Oh, hi there. Is this the University Registrar's office?
Yes, it is. I'm Deborah Reed, the university's Assistant Registrar. What can I help you with today?
Great. Thank you for seeing me today, Ms. Reed. I have a few concerns about my registration for the upcoming semester.
Certainly. What can I help you with? Sorry, what was your name again, Ms.?
Anderson, Melanie Anderson. And well, my first question concerns my student record. I'm beginning my second year of uni, but my first didn't go so well.
You're worried about your marks then, Miss Anderson, and how they impact your registration status?
Exactly. I don't know my precise average, but it is not good. Could you look into this for me?
Absolutely. Could you please spell your last name for me? I've seen it spelt with either an E or an O in the final syllable.
It's an E. Andersen. My family ancestry is Swedish.
Right then. And the next piece of information I need is your student registration number.
Okay, it seems I've left my student identification with my registration number on it in the car. Can I give you some other piece of information or identification?
Yes, you can. Along with your surname, I can find your account with your date of birth.
Great. It's the 20th of August, 1997.
The 20th of August, 1997?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Let's see your account then. Okay, here it is. Well, I see what you mean about your marks. These are certainly not ideal. However, your average is above the level necessary to proceed to Year 2 of your programme. However, I do see there's a hold on your account which is preventing you from registering for classes.
Yes. See, I thought that was because of my marks.
No, it's not. It's actually because you have unpaid library fines.
Library fines?
Yes. During the past year, you must have been tardy in returning some items to the university library.
Yes, I think I was. Hardly seems like a good reason to prevent a student from registering, though.
I know how you feel, but books are expensive for the university library to acquire, and we must coerce students to pay fines one way or another.
How much do I owe?
£6.20.
£6.20? Well, I suppose it's a relief the total is so small.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
Well, now that that is out of the way, I did have another concern. I need advice on what modules to take in my first semester. I'm in the BA Art History program, but as you can see from my record, I failed a class which is a prerequisite for 2 modules I'm supposed to take this semester.
Yes, it looks like that's right. It was Art History 1270 that you failed. Is that right?
1270. Yes, I took it with Professor Calder. I found his teaching style did not match my learning style.
Right. Well, that art history class is indeed a prerequisite for both Art History 2170 and 2260.
Yes, unfortunately that's what I found out earlier. Is there anything that can be done?
Well, Miss Anderson, I think there is. Here's what we'll do. We'll register you in the module you failed last year, and then we'll put you in Art History 2240, which counts towards your degree in place of 2260. 2240 has no prerequisite, however.
But what about the 2170 class?
Yes, well, that's where we'll have to be creative. Are you comfortable taking an extra class in the spring semester?
Yes, I think so.
Good. We will register you in 1270 and 2240 in the fall, and then register you in 2170 in the spring.
Great. And one final question. Is Professor Calder teaching Art History 1270 again this autumn?
Yes, he is, but I've put you in Professor Hennessy's section instead. I think you'll be more successful.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, students. So I'm just going to jump back to our website, stop the audio. Again, students, on the website, you've got lots of goodies, so check those out. And now we'll hop back to the questions and go through the answers together. So part 1, it's supposed to be the easiest part of the listening. Okay. Now, I was guiding you here, okay? So as you can see, I was kind of showing you what to pay attention to, what part of the questions. I was highlighting those parts of the questions. All right. Here we had an example. Now remember, students, no examples for exams from 2020. So since 2020, there's no examples, which means you have about maybe 15 seconds less introductory time. So just be prepared for that, okay? It's not a big difference, it's a small difference, but be prepared for that. Okay, so the first question here was, in which year of the university is the student enrolled? Okay. And some of you probably paid attention and saw me write this sentence. The student is in this year of university. Why did I do that? Anybody know why I wrote that? And you can see in question 2, I also did that. So in question 2, I also did this. So the question says, what is the student concerned about the most? I am very worried about. So you saw me kind of do that. Why did I do that? So why did I write these sentences after the question? Now in the real exam, I'm doing this in my head, okay? But here in the class, I showed you this by writing it down. So Daisy and Yanni says that I paraphrased it. Kind of. Hussein says they must use that sentence. Romelia says you're predicting how the student or somebody would speak. Exactly. Okay, Romelia, you're right. Okay, so remember this tip. Okay, so in the audio, you usually do not hear questions, but you hear statements. So it is a great idea to train your mind to change questions, like for example, multiple choice questions, into statements so that you can catch them easier. Okay? So it's a very good strategy, especially for multiple choice ones. If it's already a statement, just paraphrase it. If it's a question, definitely paraphrase it into a statement. Does that make sense? So does that strategy make sense? So changing the question into a statement 90% of the time will be the better way because you're predicting what you will hear. So in this way, you more closely predict what you will actually hear. Okay? Might not be the same, but at least it's a statement. Okay? Good. So for a lot of you, that's clear. All right, so do that kind of predictive changing questions into statements in your head while you're reviewing those questions, okay? And I can see that Anahita Carolina Chen say, yep, that makes sense. Okay, so in which year is the student enrolled in? So for number 1, what's the answer? This one should have been fairly easy. They say this on a few different occasions. Part 1, if you pay attention, they often will give the answer a couple of times. And so here it was B, second year. Okay. Good. And then the next question was, what is the student concerned about most? And notice how I saw that too. It's like they're very concerned about it. Okay, is it her marks? Is it her registration? Or her identification for number 2? What is she concerned about most? Now here, you want to be empathetic, okay? So IELTS tries to create real situations. So you want to be empathetic, okay? So they do try to give you real facts. To the best of our modern information, knowledge, and science, IELTS tries to use real information. They do not try to trick you with false information or lies, okay? So IELTS aims to create true and real situations in the listening section. Why am I telling you this? So be empathetic. Okay, it means put yourself in the position. So why am I telling you this? Well, here's the example. What would you be most concerned about? So if you're registering for your second year of university and you're not able to do it, what would you be most concerned about? Your marks, whether you got A's or C's, or whether you can register or not register for your next year of university? What would be your biggest concern? Raquia says marks. Fuang says marks. Chen says obviously my performance. Nope. Registration for sure. Answer: registration. If you're not able to register, your marks don't matter anyway. Right? If you're kicked out of your university, it's a bigger problem than if you got a C or a B or an A. Okay? All right? So here, the student, the correct answer is B, her registration status. She's freaking out because she can't register. She's trying to register and she's like, I think my marks are wrong, but I can't register, right? So what is she most concerned about? That she's not able to register for her classes, right? I mean, telling your parents that, hey, mom, dad, I got a C in biology class in university, they might be like, you know, but telling your parents, mom, dad, I can't register for university. Right? Oh, what? I'm coming home. Uh-oh. Right? That's definitely a bad day. Okay. And Lynn Num brings up another really good point. This is what Lynn Num says. Use your logic. Logic is very, very helpful in the IELTS listening. And Lynn has a very good point in the chat, if anybody caught that, okay? This is from Lynn Num. And Lynn, that's a very good point. I never thought about that, but that's a very, very good point. It's a very logical point. Okay, so logic is very useful in the listening section. And reading section. Well, let's be honest, logic is very useful in life. Okay, but we're dealing with the listening section. So Lynn says, if I have problems with my marks, I might find my teacher and not the registrar, the receptionist. And Lynn, they're actually called the registrar. Registrar, which is university admin helping registrations. Good point, Lynn. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense, right? She's there for her registration. So she's trying to figure out why she can't register. So she's talking to the person that deals with registration. Probably most concerned about her registration. Good logic, Lynn. Absolutely. Okay. The correct answer there was B. If you're not sure, you can always check the transcripts, which are at the back of the book, okay, and figure out what's going on. So let me move the chat here, and we can do that. So in our books, the transcripts are at page 110 here. So let me get to that. 110. There it is. Okay, so you can see it here, everybody. Okay, so Melanie says, hi, is this the University Registrar Office? Right? Lynn, good catch. And then Deborah says, yes, it is. I'm Deborah Reed, the Assistant Registrar for registration, right? What can I help you with? And then Melanie says, great. Okay. And then here you see the answer for number 1 in bold. Okay. I'm beginning my second year of university, but my first didn't go so well. And then Deborah here says, you're worried about your marks then, Miss Anderson, and how they impact your registration status, because she's the registrar, right? And then Melanie says, exactly. Okay. All right. And then they talk more about it and they figure out what the problem is, why she can't register, right? So they talk about her marks, but they mainly talk about the problem of registering. So that should become clear, and that's in the transcript. Students, anytime you're learning from good materials, you have the transcripts at the back of the book, and you should definitely use that to help your learning, okay? You should always be practicing from listening sections. You have that in the exams on our website. You have that in the Cambridge exams for past papers as well, okay? It's a little bit tricky, Anahita, but not if you think about it critically. If you think about it critically, it does make a lot of sense, right? That she's most worried about her registration. So pay attention. IELTS is a thinking exam, okay? All right. So B. Okay, and then we've got this form completion. This is a very typical type of question for part 1. Pay close attention. They will give you spelling. They give you numbers. They give you dates. Okay, so complete the form below. For number 3, we had to write Melanie's name. What is Miss Melanie's surname? So it's Melanie. Akira says it's Melanie Anderson. Okay, and it's spelt with an E. Anderson. They spell it Andersen. I'm Swedish. It's spelled with an E. Okay, so pay close attention to spelling. Anderson. Okay, birthday. When is her birthday? When was Miss Anderson born? They need this to find out what's going on with her registration, because Miss Anderson doesn't have her student ID card. Yeah, it's the 20th of August. You don't need 1997 because it's given in the answer. So Aug 20. That's all you need. Aug 20. Big A. Big A, people. Big A. You can write all capitals for reading answers or for listening answers. It's okay to write all capitals, so you can do all Aug. Just make sure you're consistent. Remember, students, that writing capitals is slower and more prone to spelling mistakes. So pay attention to that. And definitely be consistent. So if you write all capitals, do it for the name, do it for all parts, okay? So Aug 20, 1997. Okay. Listening for numbers, listening for dates is very important. For those of you who have premium access on our websites, in the audio CDs tab, go to the bonus section that's at the bottom. Okay, it's CD 7. And listen to these and repeat them so that you improve your pronunciation for speaking. Okay. So,
months of the year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August.
August. Very British, might I add. Okay. So, listen to those months of the year. Listen to numbers.
Numbers: 0, 1, 2.
Make sure to repeat them so that you can catch them easily and quickly, and so that your ear is tuned in for this information. Okay. All right. So pay attention to that. Okay. Don't get these questions wrong. They're kind of they're easy points. All right, library fines. How much does Melanie own in library fines so that she can complete her registration? Now, this is standard in a lot of countries for university. I don't know how it is in some of your countries, but in Canada, in US, in the UK, if you are in university and you owe the university money for library fines, for rental equipment, for a gym pass, and you didn't pay, you can't register for your next semester. So don't have a debt for the university. Okay? Raquia, you don't need the word pounce because the symbol is given. So it's just 6:20. Lynn, in Canada, there are 3 time zones. In British Columbia, where I live, it is 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:07. But in Manitoba, it's 9:07, and in Toronto, it's 3 hours later, so it's 11. So 9, 10. Sorry, there's 4 or 5 time zones in Canada. Maybe we've got many time zones. Canada's a big country. Lynn. I'm in the West, so it's 8. Okay, so the answer here is 6:20. Chinello, very nice. Chinello's got the right answer, so it's 6:20. That's the right answer. Okay. All right. Okay, so here we go. Number 6. What program is the student enrolled in? Again, this was a question, so I changed it to a statement. The student is enrolled in. What's the program, everybody? Oh, almost spat tea all over the microphone. BA Art History, yes. BA Art History. Bachelor of Arts in History. Carolina caught that. Like, oh no. BA Art History. Okay. Excuse me, this terrible cold. Should be over it in the next couple of days. When you're listening for that, so good question. Tri Duke says, how do we distinguish between B and a P? For the B, we kind of use our cheeks. We release the air. And for the P, we use our lips. Okay, so we kind of it out. Practice that when you have a minute, okay? Jaime and I got all kinds of good things in me right now to keep this class going, but thank you for the suggestion of the Setterzine. Okay. All right. Students, next one. We had to match the class numbers, and when I reviewed the questions, notice how I paid attention to 1270 and 1270 here as well. So it's a reoccurring theme. It's always obviously going to be mentioned a few times. And you might figure that one out before you figure out the other ones. So what was the answer for question 8? Let's start with that one. So question 8 was taken and failed, will take in the spring, or not taking at all. Steve says that was A. Amir and Chen agree. Yeah, that's the one she failed, right? And that's kind of a give me because that was a first year class, okay? So if you know that classes that start with the number 1 are first year classes, classes that start with 2 are second year classes, third year classes start with the number 3, fourth year classes start with the number 4. Master's and doctorate levels, so graduate classes, start with the number 5. Okay, so there's a tip for those of you who are getting ready for university. That's how you know which year the class is. It's by the first number that it's identified. Okay. All right. So 2170, number 7. Let's get back to that one. That one, the answer was number 7, B. That's right, Dhruvraj. Dhruvraj says it's B-A-C. It is, Dhruvraj. Good job. So it's B, A, and C. Yes, that's the right order. 7 is B, 8 is A, 9 is C. Bonus question. What class is Melanie taking instead of 2260? Anybody catch that? So which class is Melanie taking? I couldn't catch it. I caught it. It was some other 2 number. It was like, yeah, it's 2240. That's right. Look at all of you clever people. Ipshita, Fwang, Alexander, Chen. Very nice. Challenge yourself to truly understand the audio with extra questions. I like to call them bonus questions. You get my super thumbs up. Chen, Alexander, Ipshita, nicely done. For example, which class is she taking instead of 2260? The answer, give yourselves a bonus point. It's 2240. Absolutely. Dhruvraj, usually articles are not important in the answers. Like usually answers do not require an article like or the. Okay. All right. So number 10. The student is registered for 1270 with the same professor as she previously had. A, true, B, false. Correct answer? That's right, Dhruvraj. B, false. Make sure you put B and not the word false into your answer sheet, especially for the paper-based exam. Okay, so B. The question is choose the correct letter. Okay, the correct letter is B, not false. Okay. So choose that. How do we know that? What does the registrar say? Anybody catch it? She says, yeah. Alexander says it's the professor with a whiskey surname, Professor Hennessy. Yeah. Yeah, she says, but I have put you with something something professor instead. Yes. I can't remember the exact names of the professors. Professor Hennessy, right? Expensive whiskey, Alexander, at that. But I have put you with something professor instead. Okay? Yeah, and that's right, Kamalova. She says, oh, that's good. I'm happy to be with a different professor. Okay, good. All right, students, that was great. How did you do out of 10? So what did you get from 10? Now, remember, part 1 is the easiest. So in a perfect world, you should be getting you should be getting 9 or 10 from 10. Duvraj says, I got 9, which is good. Fuang, 8 is not bad. There were a couple questions in this part 1 that were a little bit tricky. Chen, 9 is pretty good. Okay. Jameen, look at you. 10 out of 10. Excellent. Yanni, 7. That's where you want to start thinking what went wrong. Nipa, same thing. 6. You want to be like, oh, what happened? Okay. Amir's like, oh, I'm a sad kitten. Yeah, so students, definitely aim for that 9, 10, okay? When you're getting questions wrong in part 1, really check out what happened because those are going to be the easiest questions, okay? All right, so your goal is to get at least 9 out of 10 in part 1, all right? If you get 6 or 7 in part 2, 3, 4, it's okay, but part 1, 9. All right, let's hop back to the website, students. So get ready to listen to part 2. Again, part 2, I will play the audio. It's coming from the website, aehelp.com. You're looking at the audio CDs for those of you who have premium access. By the way, students, if you see this red button that's just above my head there, it means you can register for your home-based IELTS exam straight from our website. Okay, you'll see it'll take you to IDP's registration page. Costs the exact same money as if you register with them, except they give us a kickback of $20. So it's good for us, good for you, good for them. Everybody wins. If you don't see that red button, it's because you don't have at-home IELTS in your country yet. I think they have about 10 countries now where you have it. Australia, New Zealand, and some other ones. Okay, so if you see it, you can register for it. You can also download the app with the QR code right there that's behind my head. All right, so we will listen. Put your answers in a separate document, and then we'll go through them after you listen, okay? Here we go. Let's go back to CD4, track 2. And listen and answer, okay? So CD4, track 2. Here we go, everybody.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening, section 2. You will hear a woman showing a group of people around an all-inclusive resort hotel. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
I'd like to welcome all of you to the White Sands 5-star resort here in beautiful Varadero, Cuba. Today I'm going to show you the fine features you'll get to experience during your stay here at White Sands. Before we begin, does anyone have any questions?
Hi there. Yes, I have a quick question. How long will the tour be? I have to meet the rest of my family for lunch in an hour.
Not a problem, sir. The tour will take no more than 30 minutes. If after this time anyone wants more details on any of the resort's features, I can help them out individually. Any other questions? No? Well, let's get started then. White Sands covers 10 acres of land, including direct access to over 250 metres of pristine Caribbean coastline. It is perfectly safe to swim in the waters here at White Sands, but do be on the lookout for jellyfish in the water. They are not deadly, but their sting does pack a punch. As we pass through the lobby, I want you to take note of the main bar area on your left. The bar is open from 11 in the morning each day and closes at 1 o'clock AM each night. As we proceed down the main path, you'll see 4 apartment buildings marked A and B on your left and C and D on your right. Between buildings C and D on your right is one of our finest restaurants featuring traditional Cuban cuisine. We have 7 restaurants in all at White Sands, and we invite you to try your favourites while you are here.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
In our brochure, I read that we are only entitled to 5 restaurant visits per week we stay at the resort. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The restaurants are only open for dinner, and reservations are mandatory. You will be able to make reservations at the end of this tour or any time before 5 this evening. When you are not dining at our a la carte restaurants, you may eat at either of our 2 buffet restaurants, which are open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Additionally, there is a night cafe, which is open until 4 a.m.
Does the resort have a nightclub for dancing?
Yes, of course. We have a discotheque located at the end of the main resort path, further away from the apartments. This is, of course, for noise reasons. In fact, the discotheque is conveniently located next to the night cafe.
And what are the discotheque's hours?
It opens at 8 in the evening and closes at 3 a.m. early the next morning. Last call for drinks is at 2:45.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
Next, I'd like to take you down to the beach and show you some of the facilities and services we offer. As we approach the beach, you'll notice the brilliant white sand that our resort is named after. The sand is incredibly fine and is lovely to walk on in your bare feet. Now you can see to your left is one of our beach bar facilities. There is also another beach bar about 100 metres to your right. These bars serve beer and cocktails from noon until 4:30 in the afternoon. On your right is a small cafe serving snack food items during the same opening hours as the beach bar. And straight ahead of us is our beach changing facility, where you can change into your swimming costume, use the toilet, or have a shower.
Are there any water sports included in our holiday package?
Good question. Yes, there are. You have unlimited access to our skimboards, surfboards, and beach sports equipment, such as beach volleyball and football. Additionally, you may sign up for windsurfing at our activity desk, located adjacent to the resort lobby. Finally, you may also register for our weekly water polo tournament, which is held each Friday afternoon at 2:30. Does anyone else have any?
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, students, use that half minute to check your answers. We will go through your answers together. We'll get the right answers. So that's your listening right there. Okay, let's hop back now. To the start of section 2. Okay, so we get an answer for this pretty quick at the beginning. Approximately how long will the tour be? And in this case, we're lucky because one of the guests actually asked the question, how long will the tour be? I got to be with my family. And then the tour guide says the tour will be no more than 30 minutes. So paraphrase, half an hour. That's right. Okay. Now, this is one of the most challenging types of questions for students on the IELTS coming up. This question's 12 to 15, okay? And I showed you the best strategy for this. The best strategy is to take notes, okay? Now, the reason for this is that you can't really catch the answers if you're just looking at this. There's too much information here, okay? So if you're looking at all of this, it's just really hard for your eyes to catch that information, okay? You're going to get confused and freak out, okay? So don't do that, okay? Don't freak out. You didn't see my smiley face there. It was behind me. That was my freak out face right there. Okay. So don't freak out. Take some notes. All right. These are the notes that I took. It's got 10 acres. There's 250 meters of beach. It's safe to swim. Main bar, 4 buildings, restaurants, 2 buffets, night cafe. Okay. That's what I got. Anybody else take notes? Okay, so I'm happy that a lot of you are getting the answers, but remember, if you're getting the correct answers because you're looking at my notes, in the real IELTS, that's not going to happen. Why? Because I'm not there. Maybe I'm in your head. Ooh, Adrian's here. He's in my head. But if I am in your head, then at this point I'd be going, take notes. Look at this question. Take notes. Take notes. So that's what I'm saying, in your head. So otherwise you don't have these notes because I'm not taking them for you. Okay. All right. Does it have a night cafe? Yes, it does. That's in my notes, right? Are the jellyfish deadly? Are the jellyfish deadly? No, they're not. Because if they were, we wouldn't say the beach is safe to swim, right? It's like, oh, the beach is safe to swim, but do watch out for the deadly jellyfish. Safe to swim, deadly jellyfish. She says they're not deadly, but their bite does pack a punch. So you're going to feel it. It'll hurt. But you're not going to die from it, right? So you wouldn't tell somebody, oh, there's your safe beach. Watch out for the great white sharks and the deadly jellyfish. They'll kill you. But it's safe to swim. Just go swim. So no deadly jellyfish. 24-hour Cuban restaurant. They don't say 24-hour Cuban restaurant, right? 4 apartment buildings. A, B, C, D. Yes. A number of restaurants. Yes, 7 to be exact. A dozen acres of land. No, not a dozen. It's 10 acres, right? Direct beach access. Yes. Several buffet restaurants. No. Several is more than 2. There's a couple. So the correct answers are A, D, E, or sorry, yes, A, D, E, and G. A, D, E, and G. Okay? So A, D, E, and G, according to my notes. Okay? A, D, E, and G. The only way to really get these correct with confidence and quickly is by taking notes. Okay? In the computer-based exam, you have your piece of paper. They tell you you can use this piece of paper for notes. All right? Kira says, got it. Any order, Hussein. Any order is okay. Yes, absolutely. Okay, last call at the discotheque. Last call means that you have the last chance to buy a drink from the bar, especially alcohol, but sometimes it's all drinks. Yeah, 2:45, very good. It closes at 3, opens at 8 p.m., and last call is at 2:45. Exactly. Okay, what is the configuration of the buildings? So here, you saw me use another strategy where I basically drew the picture. Okay, so quick drawing, boom, there was the beach. Here's the entrance. Here's a beach bar. Here's a beach bar. Here's the cafe. Here's the changing facility. Here's the beach. Anybody else draw that picture? You can literally draw it while you listen. When it's a simple diagram like this, draw it. Use your notepaper, draw it, and then match it. It's tricky for the eyes to try to see all 4 of these at the same time. So it's kind of like this question here, right? Where it's just challenging for our eyes to follow all of this information. Same idea with the diagram. It's challenging for our eyes to follow all of this information that's in here, right? So it's easier for our brain to just process the information logically by actually drawing the picture. So entrance, bar on left, bar on right, cafe on right, changing facility in front, which we don't have in any of these, but it's given, and this becomes important for the next part. Everybody got that? So everybody got how and when to use your notes and note paper for the IELTS? Yes? So the correct answer here, of course, based on our diagram, is D. Okay. I see some thumbs up. Good. You got it. Okay. So get ready for that. Okay. When you're reviewing, you can see, oh, these are a bit different. We've got, definitely some different organizations here, but to really catch it, just sketch the picture while you listen. Nitin says, gotcha. Okay, and then while they were explaining that diagram, they were also giving the answers for this, and I think we got some of them just drawing the diagram. This one, I didn't catch it because I couldn't pay attention to the time, but my guess would be like 4 in the afternoon. The beach bars serve beer and cocktails from noon until. I know this is some kind of a time. I missed it. I would just take a guess. Daisy says it's not 4, it's 4:30. Yeah, and you don't need PM because you have afternoon here. So 4:30, right? There. Zhao Lin says, I didn't draw it, but I will definitely do it in the next lesson. Yeah, Zhao, try it. When you're practicing, you're listening, and you're hearing map diagrams, draw them. It'll give you a better idea. Just quick sketch, okay? IELTS listening diagrams are simple. They're not going to ask you to draw a Picasso, okay? In addition to the small cafe on the beach, we also offer a changing facility. It's a, so it has to be singular, so it's facility. Okay. And I remember that from my diagram. Remember my diagram? I remember that they said there's straight ahead. There's a changing facility. That's why I put F there. There was the entrance, and then there was the changing facility. Okay. Where you can change in and out of your swimming costume. In the US, Canada, we say swimming suit, by the way. We also offer plenty of sports at the resort, whether it is skimboarding, beach volleyball, football, windsurfing, or our once a week water polo tournament. That was number 20. Okay. How did you do? What did you get from 20? So part 1 and 2 combined. In a perfect situation, students, when you're going for that band 6.5, okay, so if you're going for 6.5 at least, you should try to get at least 16 or more correct for part 1 and 2. Okay, so Ipshita says, I got 18. Masala got 18. That's really good. So if you got 18, that's great. Okay, if you got 16, that's good. If you got 17, it's fine. 19, 20, fantastic. Okay, Steve says 18. Chen says 17. Yeah, it's good. So getting those marks is good. The reason is because part 3, part 4, they're more and more challenging. People tend to make more mistakes in parts 3 and 4. IELTS is a progressive exam. Students, on our websites, when you complete the whole listening, okay, so of course, if you want to work ahead, you can do that. On the website at the very bottom, you'll find a score calculator where you can put in like your mark, 29. It'll tell you it's 6.5. Okay, for the listening. So there's that score calculator. And again, students, to get all of these listening materials, go to our website and join our premium IELTS package so you have all the materials for the classes. Click that red button. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access, doesn't cost much money. That's what we use today. There's 5 other full exams. We're adding 4 more exams in the coming months. And this is going to be very helpful for your IELTS exam preparations. And it's just one payment, not a lot of money. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. It's the green background. Listening section is the same. Okay. All right. So thank you, everybody who's in here in the chat anyway, our subscribers. That's great for you to subscribe. It's awesome. You'll get notifications. Tomorrow, everybody, we have speaking part 2. Speaking part 3, we will speak with our viewers. Okay, we'll talk to people. We'll give you some band score estimates and strategies. On Sunday, Discord, full IELTS speaking on Discord. Check that out. Carolina, thank you for moderating the class. That was awesome. Members, great participation. Fantastic. Very good effort from members these days. I'm loving it. And again, check out ahelp.com, gieltshelp.com. I'm Adrian. I'm a British Council agent. I've sat the IELTS exam and I've trained for the IELTS for 20 years now, just about. So you're in good hands with me. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow for some more IELTS, for IELTS speaking. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday, a great start to your Saturday, and I will see you then. Much love to all of you. Bye for now.